We saw a measured response from the White House yesterday, Donald Trump's tweet today, and Jim Mattis, of course, coming out and saying, look, negotiations are still a possibility here, that they're still on the table. So what is the official line of the White House here?
You know, that's a very good question. It's something we're all trying to figure out. I mean, I would say the Jim Mattis comments today were a little bit different than that. What he said was, you know, the time for diplomacy basically never runs out, and that could mean all sorts of things. I mean, increased pressure, diplomatic responses. So that didn't strike me as a direct contradiction of the president's tweet. The thing that really was a direct contradiction, though, was that Secretary of State Rex Tillerson has been saying for weeks that the U.S. wants to bring North Korea to the negotiating table. That he said the time was not right at that particular moment. They needed to see sort of a better good faith gesture from the North Koreans, but the U.S. wanted to bring them to the table for talks. Now you have President Trump saying talks are not the answer. So the question here is, how do we interpret this? One, as a blanket contradiction of his Secretary of State, or just the president being a little bit inarticulate in a tweet and saying he doesn't think the time for talks is right. The State Department has since said they agree with the president, that he's taking a tough stand against the North Koreans, but yet again another sort of sign of mixed signals and confusing messages coming out of different branches of the U.S. government.
But if you look at the response that we got from the North Koreans here and Kim Jong Un, he's suggesting this is a prelude to attacking Guam, where we know obviously there's a high U.S. military presence. If this is a situation where he's not willing to come to the negotiating table until he's proven that he's a credible threat to the United States here, he's only going to continue to do this. So where does that leave the response here? Because, you know, the suggestion here is actually the United States is kind of out of words here. How do they bring this man to the table?
Well, I mean, this has been the challenge for a very long time, and we've spoken to a lot of people over the last 24 hours who said, listen, it does not matter what the U.S. thinks. The problem is that Kim Jong Un has no interest in talks right now. He is not going to come to the table for talks until he has the ultimate leverage, which would be his ability to strike the United States with a nuclear tipped intercontinental ballistic missile. So there's just simply no way he's going to engage until he can inflict sort of maximum pressure and maximum urgency into those talks. And it's really forced the Trump administration back into its same old conundrum that we've seen for years and years.